And then there is another one.
Yeah. What up, y'all? I am Wavy. Hope everyone's doing well out there, staying safe, blessed out the way. Been appreciating the support lately on the channel. You know what I mean? It doesn't go unnoticed. Whether it's through a like, dropping a comment, hitting the sub up button, do all of those. You know what I'm saying? Join the conversation. Take this journey with me. That being said, this story of Taylor Schabusiness, it happened a while ago. Of course, I didn't have my channel then, but I have been keeping up with the case. And since it's all wrapped up now, I kind of just wanted to, cover it really quickly and then cover the actual sentencing for a little bit. So if you don't know, she was the woman in Green Bay, Wisconsin that now she's been convicted of and sentenced of dismembering along with maxillary abusing, and along with, like, it was just all around a grisly thing, as you see in the title here. It was, one of those things that even me, I'm a big horror fan and I love scary movies, but this was something that you never think would, transpire to real life. Like, you never imagine something like that. But that's exactly what happened. So let's cover it real quick. Discovery of severed head leads to arrest of woman in grisly Wisconsin killing, police say. So this, of course, was her when she was arrested at the time. And, this was when I first heard the story again. This was what I saw right here. And I remembered the story. It was a drug-induced frenzy, something along those lines that she said. So let's get into the video.
Disturbing, troubling, bizarre at the top of that list. Now, the details of what police and prosecutors say Taylor Schabusiness did to the man they say she killed can only be described as incredibly graphic. Last Wednesday morning, hours before the sun came up, police were called to the Stony Brook Lane home by the woman who lives there, telling them she had discovered her son's severed head in a bucket at the bottom of the basement stairs. The woman told police she'd heard a door slam between 2 and 3 a.m., waking her. She told police she went to check out a light left on downstairs and made the gruesome discovery. In addition to a lot of blood, police reported finding body parts in bags and storage containers in the basement. Schabusiness even telling police, quote, they were going to have fun trying to find all the organs as she dismembered the body.
Yeah. And as stuff came out through the case, oh my gosh, do not release this woman into the public among the population, please. Like, you want people to
And all the organs.
you want them to have fun trying to find all the organs as she dismembered. Like, had the mom go in and find the severed head in a bucket at the bottom of the stair. Like I said, the whole thing is just, there are going to be books and movies produced about this story. There are going, because it is such a big thing, because you don't see women committing these type. I mean, it's heinous all around, but you don't see women committing these type of crimes. And to this degree, there are going to be people just that, are interested in those things. And like I said, I was interested in the case when I heard about it because it was just so bizarre,
As she dismembered the body. Schabusiness told police she used knives she'd found in the kitchen. Prosecutors say the medical examiner determined the victim died by strangulation. Schabusiness telling police it happened during a sexual encounter and that she did not mean to kill the victim, but told investigators she just went crazy.
No kidding. You dismember him with knives. Like, from all the movies I've seen, they use heavy machinery, saws and stuff like that. She used knives in the house. Like, that is a different type of crazy, to sit there and be thinking I'm going to hide the body parts around the house and have them find it like some sort of scavenger hunt shit. And as you're cutting you know, like bones ain't easy to cut through. Think about if you've ever broken a bone. Like it's not a knife going through it one time going to cut through your bone. Like it's constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like it's just so bizarre. It's one of those things that are just so crazy you never think. And I'm sure stuff like that happen and are out there and will never be solved. There are, I understand. But this case, yo, it's wild. Anyway, let's keep going. So this is going to be footage of her getting arrested. So I don't think that she got arrested at the, or, you know, right away. I think the mom called with the telling what she found. So then they went to find her.
Taylor, you have one more for your wrist. Just put your hands behind your back, please. Anybody else in your apartment?
Look at her hand. Well, I don't know if y'all can see. It looks like there's little cuts on her hands. It could be shadows, you know.
You got blood on your hands here, too. You got blood on your hands here, too.
Oh, she has blood on her. So she's still wearing the damn clothes. She still got the blood on her.
No, on your hands. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to. What apartment is it? What apartment are you in? Do you have it? Adam, can you come up? You got someone here, get up here. On the double. Which apartment? One is what they.
Yeah, so that's actually them taking her into custody. Then this is her throughout the trials. And as of the recording of this video, she has been sentenced to life in prison, which we will get to the actual judge sentencing. But, whoa, I mean, everyone involved, you know, the mom, you know, the victim, of course, you know, but this woman, look at her. She doesn't appear to have remorse, and life in prison, man. I mean, of course, I know from the headlines, but we'll see what the judge actually has to say. So this actual footage is I believe the judge is allowing the jury to see the victim's head or images of the victim's head in the bucket. So, all right, and then this is going to be the actual sentencing. So they have so the device right here is a spit bag, you know, to just keep her from spitting on people. All right, let's check it out.
Other sentence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Schabusiness, this is your opportunity to address me if there's anything on your mind you'd like to say before I pass sentence.
No, there isn't.
Okay. Very good. Well, then, when passing sentence on cases like this, the court has to consider the factors set forth in State versus Galleon. So I have to consider the gravity of the offense, the character of the defendant, the need to protect the public, as well as other aggravating and mitigating circumstances, including rehabilitative needs and punishment and deterrence, and then craft a sentence in each case that's appropriate. In this case, when I consider the defendant's character, I can say that over the course of this case, I've learned a great deal about you, Ms. Schabusiness. First of all, you were born in Chicago, lived there until you were about age 10, or 12 rather. You seem to have had a stable childhood. You were loved by your mother and your father and your brother. And unfortunately, your mother passed away when you were 12, your brother passed away from in a vehicle accident, and your dad's incarcerated.
As difficult as that might be, and I know those are difficult circumstances, you know, to have to deal with, especially if it happened at a young age. But she did come from a home in the early developmental years where love was shown. And yeah, man, the degree of this thing, I mean, I just don't want the judge to try to use that as saying has given her an excuse, you know, because these things happened. That's why this happened, you know, and I don't think he will, but I'm glad that he brought it up.
But I'm confident that all three of them probably still love you very much. Her father's employment was transferred to Green Bay when she was about 12 years old, and hence began the contact Ms. Schabusiness had with this community. She attended Bayport High School. At about 16, she moved to Texas to live with her grandfather. She graduated from high school in Cotulla, Texas, and eventually came back to Green Bay because she missed her father and her brother, which again doesn't surprise me any because, as I've indicated, I think they both love her very much.
So she had a pretty strong family core from most accounts, you know. She had her grandparents, and she was able to finish high school, and then still had her brother and her father at the time. You know, maybe shouldn't have come back. Maybe shouldn't have gone back to Green Bay. You know, maybe she should have stayed in Texas, because what she came back to in Green Bay was maybe not the right an environment conducive for a lot of success. You know, maybe the dad was still going through whatever he's going through. He lost his wife, and you know, things like that. I don't know. I don't know the exact timeline.
She's worked in this community. I read over the pre-sentence investigation report that I ordered, and that outlines some work experience that she has, and I think that's a favorable character
Come on. Awful.
trait, because quite frankly, not everyone that lives in this community does work, and I think it indicates someone who wants to get out and support themselves and not make anybody else do it. But that reflects on character. She has a limited court record. Certainly we have pretty much the entire extent of her criminal record in front of us here today. But it's a limited record that reflects on character. She's got a family who cares about her. And although sometimes I think people take that for granted, if you sit in this courtroom long enough, you'll realize that you should never take your family for granted, because so many people come in sitting in that chair in an orange jumpsuit and have absolutely no one who will come in and say, I'm with her. And
That's a fact, man. Family is a big thing, man. Just a quick little side note.
It takes a little bit of fortitude to come in and do that. And frankly, today she's got extended family that comes in and does that for her, because her direct family are unable to do that for various reasons. And so I think that speaks to Ms. Schabusiness's character, because there's people in this world who find value and worth in her, that they're willing to come in and stand behind her. So I think that reflects on character. I'm cognizant of the fact that she began using drugs at a very young age. Marijuana at age 12, cocaine at around 18, and methamphetamine at around 18 as well. And we've heard a lot of testimony about drug usage. I don't have any doubt that that has an impact on how people conduct their lives and behave from moment to moment.
That's a
But
fact.
quite frankly, as far as this incident and these events go, I think I've spoken to this already in prior hearings, but the fact of the matter is, when I watched the interview with law enforcement shortly after these events, I observed someone who was lucid, understanding what was going on, was tracking what was being asked of her, her answers were tracking. Everything seemed to be together at that moment. I don't really see the influence of drugs now. It doesn't mean it's not there, but I didn't see it in that interview, which is the most close proximity to the events of this night that we have.
Now, I'm not 100% sure if they were on drugs. I thought I remembered hearing that they were on, was it meth or something like that? But the judge is saying that, you know, from what he could see, he doesn't see any form of drug use. So let's go with that.
Is that interview. And right then and there, she seemed to be very lucid in what she was doing. But I don't doubt, but there's a long history of drug use, serious drug use.
Okay, so maybe she was.
Methamphetamine is a plague in this community, and
Okay, so maybe she was using it, but then by the time they caught her and interviewed her, it probably had worn off by then. Because to do what she did, and then, not only off him, but then to do the other deeds and dismemberment and all that, takes a little bit of time, which the drugs would have been in her system and then slowly come out. So
it seeped into this case as well, and it's something that we have to this community, and but there's a long history of drug use, serious drug use. Methamphetamine is a plague in this community, and it seeped into this case as well, and it's something that we have to constantly fight against. It's not a battle that the system wins often, but we're making some headway, and every little step we take is perhaps.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying
Bruh.
anything online. Don't
Bruh.
spend another dime
No,
on
no,
Amazon
no.
until you
One life that can be saved as a result of that drug coming into this community. But it's a big problem, and it is in this case. I've heard about Ms. Schabusiness's mental health history. I've read stacks and stacks of mental health records that have come in as recently as a few days ago. And I read them over, which allowed me to learn even more about Ms. Schabusiness and about her character and who she is as a person. I've heard about her son who lives in Texas. And I'm absolutely convinced that she loves her son. And I'm going to say more about that in a minute, but that's a piece of who she is because she's a mom. And I think that is a title that is a precious title, and it's an important title.
damn, her son, I hope, has good supporting cast, for real, and all her children, if she has any others. I hope that they have good supporting cast and family that really loves them and has their best interest at heart and stuff like that, because they're gonna have to be there both there in the house and then there to guide him through these times of seeing his mom through this, and when he grows up reading the articles and stuff like that, so that little that child or those children, hope that they have guidance with them.
I'm also convinced that a person comes into this court with their life up to that point in time as a demonstration of their character. What kind of a person are they? What do they bring to the table as a member of the human community? Not just this community, but as a community, the human community as a whole. And there are some things about Ms. Schabusiness that speak well of that. I was a little bit put off by a statement that I read in the pre-sentence investigation report, frankly, from her father. He said on page 17 of that report, "I feel like the system could have helped Taylor and kind of failed her as well." And I reflected on that because it's difficult to understand who people refer to when they say the system fails people. Because you know what? It's not the job of the system to raise people's children. The system tries to do that. The system is not perfect. Like our fight.
The system's not supposed to be raising the children, though. Family's supposed to be raising the children. I understand, sadly that cannot be the reality for everyone, but in a perfect world, families should be raising their children, not the government.
Against methamphetamine is not perfect, but we carry the fight on. People in our community get into the system, be that the court system or the system dealing with child protection. Really, I think what they're referring to, I don't know, but it seems to be the government. The government needs to come in and do more to take care of people who have gone astray, and I'm not sure that that's the case. Nonetheless, attempts are made. Attempts are being made in this courthouse every day, and to suggest that somehow it's the system that failed. It always surprises me a little bit when people come into court. They're coming in an orange jumpsuit and chains to suggest that it's the system that's failed my daughter. There's a certain irony in that. There really is. And it disturbed me when I read that piece. I'm not so sure it's
She over it, yo. She rolling highs, ready to go. Hey, not too much longer. If you stuck around this long in the video, I would appreciate it. If you're enjoying the content, if you hit a like, drop a comment, join the conversation, and hit the sub button and take this journey with me. Yeah, let's get back to the video. Not too much longer.
relevant
I'm not watching the whole video, y'all. So not too much longer at all.
to what should happen to Miss Schabusiness, but it was relevant to what I heard from this witness here today, because I think the system does the best it can. It's imperfect, and it has very much to do with the amount of resources that the public wants to put into the system.
Nah, man. Y'all tax the hell out of us, y'all. All right, side note. Let's get back to it.
And those resources are finite. But as I say, in this building, the system is doing everything it can to fight drug use with all of our treatment courts, with everything we do, to try to help push back the plague of drug use that's occurred and that we've heard so much about in this case. So I read that statement. I heard from Ms. Schabusiness's father. He is coming in here to talk about his daughter, who's also going through the system, and I couldn't help but think of everything I heard about Ms. Schabusiness's son, because it seems to be a cycle. It seems to be just a circle. It's coming around again, so that if he ever finds himself in the situation that his mother finds himself in, where she's the only one he's got left to come in and speak for him, again, I guess it's the system that's done something, but it all starts, frankly, at somebody's home and what they have to offer to their children. And so anyways, I reflect on that. But I'm also convinced that, no one is responsible for where they come from. But you are responsible for where you're going. So there's a lot of tragedy that has occurred in Ms. Schabusiness's life. There really is. I've already reflected on some of that. And it almost seems as if you could apply the phrase, she never had a chance, to Ms. Schabusiness. But as I said, you're not responsible for where you come from, but you are responsible for the choices you make about where you're going. And Ms. Schabusiness has got to be held responsible for that, and this is the ending of a process that is doing just that. At the same time, I'm absolutely convinced that, irrespective of the sentence that Ms. Schabusiness gets, which in light of these charges is going to be a life sentence.
Boom. Life. Which I think she deserves, given what she did. Like I said, I'm a big fan of horror movies, but when you think about what actually took place and think that it wasn't a movie, it was actual reality. I mean, I'm certain that it takes place, but to actually see this one laid out the way it was, even having stuff like I said about her wanting to place the body parts around the house, But I just wanted to wrap up on this case. I think that there was a lot to learn about this case and a lot of things. Like I said, I'm a big horror fan, so I liked it. That's what drew me into it. But there were lessons about family. There were lessons about not to do drugs. In case you were thinking about it, don't do it. There were lessons about the system. But for real, I mean, she did come from some crazy stuff, so I'm not going to say that. But like the judge said, it's not about where you start. It's about where you're heading, about where you finish. And, you have the most responsibility and control over that. And with that one, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Yo, thank y'all for sticking around this long in the video and seeing how this whole case turned out. And till next one, y'all stay safe, blessed, amazing, out the way, wavy.